Every Friday, we talk NFL football with Freddie Coleman, and the host of the Freddie Coleman Show, and he joins us here on Big Board Sports. Freddie, Roger Weiland, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Roger, my friend. How are you this Friday?
I'm great, my friend. And you're going to be coming into town here sooner than later, aren't you?
Yeah, next Wednesday for Coaches versus Cancer. It's always one of my favorite things to do, where I get a chance to hang out with you and Jimmy Patsos of Siena and Will Brown of Albany and Tom Izzo, Hall of Fame basketball coach of Michigan State's going to be there. So anytime I get a chance to come back to the Capital District and hang out with everybody and see everybody, it's always going to be a fantastic time, so I can't wait.
I can't either. I'm looking forward to meeting Tom Izzo. I mean, I've always respected him from afar. I know what a great basketball coach he is. I've heard him over the many years with Mike and Mike in the morning. Seems like a really down-to-earth guy. I don't know if you probably know him a lot better than I do, but I'm looking forward to meeting Tom Izzo.
And so am I, because I've never had a chance to meet him face-to-face. I've talked to him a couple of times in interviews on the phone, and I will tell people this. As great of a basketball coach that he is, I'm telling you right now, he is a much, much better person. And anybody that's going to be at that event next week for Coaches versus Cancer, they're going to get a chance to see and feel that from him. And believe me, he is going to be so inspiring what he's going to talk about in his experiences. It's going to be one of the better nights that I've been around in a long, long time.
Totally agree. Freddie Coleman with us, and he is with us every Friday here on Big Board Sports. We're into week 2 of the NFL. Let's start at, Freddie, with your impressions of the Jets' win over Buffalo last night.
Roger, I don't think I've ever seen Ryan Fitzpatrick that accurate throwing the football in my life. I don't think he was that accurate playing Pop Warner football wherever he grew up at. I'll tell you that right now, because everything was with confidence. Everything was with conviction. Even when he had to throw in the face of evil of defenses that got close to him, he was right on it. And even after the first drive, where it seemed that he was a little nervous or trying to get into the swing of things, after that, he was just terrific, finding Brandon Marshall here or Eric Decker there or Anunwa here. And he didn't make bad decisions. Even his incompletions were good decisions. And when you have a defense that's predicated on pressure and relying on your D-backs, and that pressure is not there and your D-backs have come up short, you have to take advantage of that. He only missed 10 passes. He had 374 yards passing, didn't throw a pick. That was as impressive of a performance from Ryan Fitzpatrick that I've seen in his NFL career.
And Freddie, going in, the storylines were it kind of embedded in his mind that he couldn't get it done against a Rex Ryan defense. The stat was 1 for 8 against Ryan's defense as well. That all changed last night. Obviously, he must have had a very clear mind going into that game.
It's funny because we talked to Marcus Williams, who had an interception for the Jets last night after the game was over, and I even asked him how much was 1 and 8 brought up with his lack of success against Rex Ryan. And he said, I didn't hear too much about that, but he looked different at practice. And he said I would not doubt that that had a hand in how he looked at practice. And even Ryan Fitzpatrick said, I have to go out there and think less. So I'm sure there are plenty of Jets fans that are thinking, good, thinking's overrated. Play like that the rest of the year, and we're going to be a better team than we were last year.
This weekend, Freddie, and by the way, Zach joining Roger in studio this morning. This weekend, the New York Giants at home against the Saints. We knew what this game contained last year, a historically high scoring game. Giants spend a lot on defense. How do you see this thing shaping out on Sunday?
Jets Bills Part 2, because that's going to be a 35-31 game between these two teams, because we know the Saints can't play any defense, and if they can, they have forgotten how to play, let's put it that way. And I know the Giants improved. We saw the improvements last week. We had Damon Harris in the middle of the defense, Olivier Vernon on the outside. That defense can be pretty good. If they're even passable, that's going to help this offense. But the Saints offense, they're just a different cat you have to deal with, because Drew Brees is so good at spreading the ball around. Keep an eye on Brandon Cooks, who I think is going to have a terrific season at wide receiver for this football team. Last year's game was one of those games where you said to yourself, boy, it's like watching a video game. It's not going to be close to that, but it's going to be a high-scoring game. So if you go anywhere to try to get a snack or you have to go to the bathroom, make sure you do it and do it quick and come back, because the offense is going to be flowing all day long between those two.
Freddie, I played in the McLean golf outing yesterday, raised $15,000 for Children's Hospital Albany Med, and got to the luncheon after we were done playing. We teed off in the morning. I had some Miami Dolphins guy come up to me going, I'm telling you right now, Roger, the Dolphins are winning in Foxborough this weekend. Take it to the bank. And I just looked at him, and I think he might have had a couple of beers in him by then. I'm like, man, are you kidding me? There's no way. Freddie, you don't see the Miami Dolphins going to Foxborough and winning outright this weekend, do you?
No, not outright. But I will say this. If they play defense like they did last week versus Seattle, they're going to give the Patriots a lot of problems, especially if Rob Gronkowski, it seems like he's not going to play in week 2. But when you got Bill Belichick coaching up that team, and their defense is going to be really good in New England, and they're going to make plays on the outside. Miami felt that they let one get away against Seattle. I mean, Kenny Stills catches that pass. We're talking about Miami upsetting Seattle. But division play is so different, even with the new head coach and Adam Gase of the Miami Dolphins. You know that Bill Belichick has enough intel on his tendencies that he's going to use that to his advantage. So I don't know if your friend had 2 beers or 20 beers. I admire his confidence in the Miami Dolphins, but I think his Dolphins will be 0-2 when it's all said and done. The Patriots will still be undefeated.
Freddie, I got to ask you a question a little bit against the grain here. The Pats for the next 3 weeks are going to be at home and favored. It's very realistic that they could be 4-0. Tom Brady's 39 years old. Is it heresy to start thinking that Bill Belichick and that Patriots management could start thinking, hey, maybe it's time? We saw Brett Favre, leave Green Bay. We saw Joe Montana get traded to Kansas City. Could we see a shift, a paradigm shift at the QB spot here in the next year or two?
I can see it in the next year. I can't see it this year because I still think I think anybody in their right mind will look at Tom Brady and say that's still an elite quarterback. That's a guy on the Aaron Rodgers of Green Bay line. That those Drew Brees and New Orleans Saints. If Andrew Luck can get his act together with the Indianapolis Colts compared to last year, those guys are elite quarterbacks. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But if you're the Patriots, and we've seen Bill Belichick do this, if he feels you can't produce for him anymore, he'll say, hey, it's been real, it's been fun, but it's not going to be real fun anymore. It may be different with a Tom Brady who keeps himself in great shape, who is going to go down as one of the 2 greatest quarterbacks in the history of the National Football League. But the Patriots, they have a plan in place. They just haven't told anybody, and they're not going to tell anybody. But I can't see that happening this year when Tom Brady comes back. Now, after next season, I think all bets could be off because Bill Belichick's going to say, either we're going to trade Jimmy Garoppolo, we do it now, or we keep him and we move Tom Brady out of the way. I don't see that happening this year, but after next season, that could be a possibility. You
can listen to the Freddie Coleman Show every weekday, 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. right here on 104.5 The Team. And you can listen to Freddie every Friday morning with us here on Big Board Sports. One of the games of the week, at least in my opinion, Freddie, is the Pittsburgh Steelers hosting the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, these 2 teams don't like each other. They're going to get after each other in Pittsburgh. This is a tough one to call. I've got the Steelers pulling this out, but Steelers, Bengals on Sunday, how good should that one be?
Well, normally I don't preach hate in this world, but when it comes to that, good old-fashioned hate is never a problem with me when you got Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, because I think the 3 teams in that division, when they face each other, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Baltimore, those are going to be 6 games of bloodbaths, and I can't wait to see that. And, Roger, I'm with you because we know all about what happened last year in the playoffs, and this is such a deep-seated rivalry that players even talk about it in the offseason. Cincinnati's defense is going to be terrific, and they don't even have their guys like Vontaze Burfict, their linebacker, and we know what A.J. Green can do offensively. But Pittsburgh's offense is so scary. Once they got rolling against Washington, it was as if a tidal wave rolled in. You just had to hold on and wait to see what the damage was going to be. That's the kind of offense they're going to be all season long, and as good as Cincinnati's defense is, the Jets made some plays on them last week, and now they're facing an offense that's better. Roger, I'm with you. I got Pittsburgh in this game, but believe me, there's going to be a lot of fussing, a lot of cussing, and it's going to be great TV for anybody watching this game.
And when Antonio Brown catches the touchdown pass, will he do any twerking, do you think, Freddie, on Sunday?
Well, put it this way. I mean, I don't think he wants to continue to lose money, but the one thing I thought about that was, okay, you're fining him for twerking, but yet Victor Cruz does the salsa dance, and there's no fines coming his way. And I'm thinking, isn't it essentially the same thing? They're doing a dance in the end zone that's choreographed, and you find one guy and not the other. I guarantee you Antonio Brown will probably have something that he'll do, but he'll make sure he won't be fined for it. But that guy's the best receiver in the National Football League. There's not a pattern he can't run. He's tough. He's physical. He's fast. He plays every play as if it's going to be his last play. He is probably my favorite player to watch in the league that's not a quarterback in the NFL.
And for years we watched his dad, Freddie, here in the Capital Region. The Albany Firebirds touchdown Eddie Brown was pretty good back in the day.
Yeah, Eddie was good, but I tell you what, the son of Eddie Brown is no joke. Let's put it that way. I mean, Eddie had ability, but not like that. And think about this. Antonio Brown was not even a top 3 draft pick. He wasn't a first 3-round guy. It shows that the NFL does miss on guys, and they do get it wrong on occasion, but it also points out how much the draft is an inexact science. But a guy like that, playing like that now, did not even go in the first 4 or 5 rounds of the NFL draft, and look at him now. If you have that drive and desire and that talent that people may have missed, you can be an Antonio Brown and really make hay in the NFL.
Freddie, always a pleasure. Thanks for a few minutes here on Big Board Sports, and look forward to seeing you next week, partner.
My pleasure, Roger and Zach. You guys have a great weekend, and Roger, can't wait to see you on Wednesday, my friend.
You got it, my friend. Thank you. That's Freddie Coleman. Again, you can listen to Freddie every weekday 11 to 2, and he's with us every Friday morning here talking NFL football on Big Board Sports.